Alright everyone, this is going to be a live Instagram talking about Kanye's new album, Jesus is King. We are all in Detroit. This is my friend Bass with me.
What's up?
And it's my other friend Chris. You know him as Lil Jetta.
What's up? How's it going?
Alright, so we're going to be talking Kanye. I'm going to go through the whole thing. I went to Sunday service. I went to the concert at Fox Theater, all of that. So we're going to break down every part of it, kind of talk about it, and hit me with some questions. So we'll talk about whatever, and I'll probably upload this to my YouTube channel, which is just Chris Platty, same name as Instagram, and I'll probably put it on my podcast too, Strictly Hip Hop, which is on iTunes or Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast. But enough of that. Let's talk about the album for a second. So let's go in order. Bass, you and I were with each other for the Sunday service,
yeah,
which was at the Aretha Franklin of Theater down in Detroit. It used to be called Shane Park. Now it's the Aretha Franklin Theater or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I believe it's
beautiful
still,
theater.
Is it still? I'm correct me if I'm wrong. It could still be Shane Park, but the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater is just the name of the amphitheater within Shane Park.
It is.
But
it is still Shane Park.
It's East Side Detroit, just off of Jefferson.
Yeah.
Okay, so we start there. And that was a cool experience. Like, it was fun in the sense that it would have been disappointing if you were going there for Kanye. Like, if you went there specifically for Kanye, you were disappointed. But if you went there for what Sunday service is about, for just gospel music, it was awesome. Because Kanye he was there the whole time, but he only did 2 records. He did Father Stretch My Hand and Ultralight Beam. Those were the only 2 records he did at the Sunday service this afternoon. And when he was doing those, it was really fun. The crowd energy was there, but the gospel parts were really cool as well. And some people I saw kind of checked out. And Kanye, even the cool thing is that Kim and his two kids were there, and so he was running around with them. And there was parts where he would he'd kind of have to like break off into dad mode and go to his kid and like talk to his kid for a second, and then come back to the stage. But it was just really cool. The energy was there. It was kind of structured a lot like my church, where it started with the gospel music, and then it broke down into a little prayer, and then it did a little, greet your neighbor, and then it came back with some prayers and some music, and it was really dope. But if you went there for Kanye, you were probably a little bit disappointed. I mean, what would you say of your thoughts?
I mean, I felt like, the venue was so beautiful, and, there was a lot of energy there, and, it was a really great time with the gospel music, but I do agree, I thought that was the only Kanye concert we were going to. Though.
Yeah.
Like, the other one came out of nowhere, so, like, there was that disappointment that, like, the first time I saw him live, it was, like, not kind of the experience I was expecting or hoping for, but nonetheless, for the gospel music, and especially if you're like super religious, like that is, a great place to go.
How do you fast forward this shit? I know you want to hear me talk about the album. Trust me, I'll get there. I'm just walking through the day. We'll get there in a second. But yeah, that's actually a good point to mention that this was also my first time seeing Kanye live. As much as the man, everybody's telling me to get to the album. As much as I love Kanye, though, I've never seen him live before, so that was cool. So, anyways, fast forward. The quick part of the story, the boring part of the story is we're going to get dinner, and all of a sudden we get notifications on Twitter that Kanye's doing something at the Fox Theater, and it still doesn't say it's the album. It still doesn't say anything. We don't know what's going on, so we actually leave the restaurant. We go and we start getting in line for tickets, and we ended up buying them off eBay or something, and so we were waiting there for the venue at Fox Theater, and that shit was. That was really, really awesome. I didn't think we were getting the album. I didn't think that was going to happen. I know you said you were thinking of it.
Faith, bro.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was funny. We were sitting, talking to the people sitting around us. We were about 7th row, which was pretty sweet. We were really close to the front. Unfortunately, he didn't perform. But we were talking to the people around us, and it was really all up in the air. Nobody knew what to expect. Nobody knew if he was going to perform. Nobody knew if we were even getting the album in the first place. Like, we didn't know if it was just going to be... We knew that there was going to be some sort of film or cinematography of some sort, and we got that, but he also played the album for everybody afterwards, which was cool, so we all were fulfilled at the end of the day, where, like, everybody was kind of curious at first. We talked to everybody around us, and everybody thought something different. You know what I mean? Nobody knew what to expect because this was so last minute. We even talked to the people at the venue, and they said that they got called into work that day or the day before. Like, they didn't know, this was totally unplanned.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to talk about. That's what I tweeted. This was the greatest rollout I was ever a part of, because that was the brilliance of it. It clicked when we were listening to the music. The fact that Kanye, if you think about Kanye, he obviously, we all know he sucks with release dates. That's well documented. But what made this rollout so perfect to me was the whole time everything logical was telling us this album wasn't coming. Billboard, Rolling Stone, all these credible publications were posting articles about how sources are saying that the album's not even ready. And meanwhile, Kim Kardashian's retweeting everybody, retweeting countdowns and saying have faith. She posted something when she was at the Marriott. She posted the track list and said have faith, and that was like at 7 or something. So when we were right about to open the doors and they locked our phones, so we saw that luckily right before, and that's when we thought, wow, we really are getting the album. And that was just incredible rollout. That to me was perfectly executed. Nobody knew what to expect. Twitter was going nuts on Thursday. I know that. I didn't see it much on today because I was just always without my phone. My phone was just kind of in my pocket all day. I was just kind of trying to enjoy the experience. How many rollouts have you been a part of? Personally, none. I've been a part of none. But as a music listener,
not one.
I've been following rollouts like religiously for, that's actually my favorite thing to do, is I like to kind of read the tea leaves and try to find out, okay, when's Kendrick coming? When's Kanye coming?
How are they going to come?
Yeah, how are they going to come? And so that's what made this rollout so brilliant to me, is the whole time we were expecting the unexpected, and nobody believed that the album was coming, and it was here. So before we get to the album, let's talk about the visuals. There's 2 visuals, and I'll pan it to you real quick. Bass, because you're the one with film experience. How long have I been a Kanye fan for? Man, my whole life. So don't worry about all that. But let's talk about the visuals. There was 2 different visuals. One was like a short film, and the other was an IMAX. Yeah. I want you to break it down.
It was sponsored by IMAX, I believe.
Yeah. It was shot on IMAX.
Yeah, on IMAX cameras. I don't know how that all works. That's your vein.
Yeah. The first one was a little short documentary about an architecture project that Kanye was actually working on for like a church/community center. For his Sunday service stuff. Yeah,
it showed the design of Coachella.
It didn't seem like it was completed. It looked like it was a really edited down version. It was kind of chopped up, but it was nonetheless really interesting to see how it came out.
That was I think it's important to mention that he did mention before he even showed the films that they were works in progress. They were not finished, and we knew that going into it.
Yeah, that's a good point. So continue.
And what made the documentary a lot more interesting is when it led into the short film, the IMAX short film, where we got beautiful looks at that place in action. We got the songs, I'm telling you, like, in terms of, videos and cinematography, it was crazy amazing. Like, some of the best I've ever seen. If you loved his Runaway film, I'm telling you, this is, like, better, I thought.
And we have no word on when this is coming out. We have nothing. He just came to the venue, and he was on the balcony of the venue, and he said, all right, I'm going to give you guys 3 things tonight. These 2 films, and then he paused for a second, and he's like, oh, and then the third thing is we're going to listen to the album. And the crowd went nuts. So let's get to the album part, and then I'll circle back.
Mention that the crowd in general was not that big. The Fox is a pretty big venue. I believe the capacity is somewhere around 5,000 to 5,500, somewhere in there. Yeah. And I mean, there was nobody in the balconies. It was only the floor, and the floor wasn't even totally full. It wasn't even like sold. I guess it was sold out. I don't know how many tickets were there to begin with. We're lucky that we got them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. So I would say there was probably somewhere around 2,000. There was probably around 2,000 people there. So it was a very intimate venue. And so Kanye says, when he says he's going to play the album, everybody goes nuts. We watch the films first, then we get to the album. So now let's get to that. That's what everybody wants to know. I got questions on it. Save your questions and loop them back in case I missed them in the feed, and I'll be glad to answer them. But let's just talk about the album right now. So, man, what he did is he kind of emceed it. Kanye would like take the microphone and be like, all right, this record's called Up to Ashes, which is the intro. And and then he'd play it, and then after that he'd take a break and he'd say, all right, this next track is Sela or whatever the next track was, and then he'd play that track. And looking at Kim Kardashian's post from the Marriott, the sequencing was different. Like Sela was the last record on that version, whatever Kim K posted, but that was like the third or fourth song we heard. It kind of all blended together. But the thing that stood out to me most, and then we'll hop around the room here, the thing that stood out to me most on this album is that Kanye had something to say. And as a longtime Kanye fan, that is exactly what I wanted. This album was great, and that was, to me, the greatest part about it. There was a lot of great things, but to me, the fact that he said something, like when he was on Ye, I felt like he didn't really open up. He would talk about, the Kim K song about the Sway interview, or not the Sway interview, the TMZ interview. And, he didn't go in depth with that. He just kind of said everybody thought I was crazy, but he didn't elaborate his thoughts. He didn't do any of that. Whereas this album, he really said some things. Some of my favorite bars, and forgive me, I'm not gonna remember them word for word, but one was, y'all are focused on BET, well, I'm focused on my DET, and that was just, to me, a really cool bar. And the whole album just had those littered through it, a lot of clever bars. There were some Kanye lines, like one of the songs, No Clothes on Sunday, he says, we're closed on Sunday, just like Chick-fil-A. And, he has those Kanye humorous bars that only Kanye can deliver.
It's the only bar, like, those bars only Kanye can do.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why we love Kanye.
Not even Kendrick.
Did he diss Drake? I'll get to that in a second. I don't think he did, but some people might say he did. But the album was just absolutely great. He was rapping on every song. He had a lot to say on every song. The gospel wasn't as present. It didn't sound as present as I thought it would,
which we all expected.
Yeah,
it was cool that we still got the rap side. It was very climactic. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it wasn't so... It was... The films were much more gospel-oriented than the album actually was, which was interesting to me.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Like, the whole experience leading up to the album was more gospel than the actual album. At least that's what it sounded like through Fox Theater, so speakers. So, like, that's our only experience right now. It might sound a little different in the headphones, but... in Selah, he put in the Hallelujah part, which he played at the Sunday service. So there was some gospel parts of these records, and all of these records are about God. So I would still consider this like a gospel rap album, because literally every song, Kanye, for the first time, we all know Kanye's ego. This was the first time Kanye did a whole album really putting himself underneath somebody. Like, College Dropout was just, I'm this hungry, ambitious guy, I'm gonna be the best. Like, all these albums just had different, we saw a different Kanye. This album was a different Kanye. Every single song was about him submitting himself to a higher power, to God. And that, to me, as a religious man, was very cool. But he nailed the theme. I thought the production was amazing. A lot of the beats had switches and builds. Every beat build was built up and then tore down. It was really, really well done. I thought, personally, I think we heard about 10 records, right? It was 10? Something
around that. Wise of length, it was around the same length as Ye, I would say. It wasn't super dragged out.
No, I would say it was a little longer.
It could have been, but I'm saying a ballpark, like, it's near the same. It's not one of those 16-track long albums that you're gonna have all these moments to where there's gonna be filler tracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like every moment counted.
Yeah, it did.
None of the songs were that long either. They were really, concise and short songs.
Yeah, most songs were like 2 verses, some hooks, and they were out of there. That's how most songs were. Some breakdowns and stuff. Will I buy the album? Of course I'll buy the album. I buy any artist that I support. But this album was really good in the sense that it was really concise. It was to the point. It followed the theme, excellent. And Kanye himself, through the films, through observing just him as a person interact between the choir at Sunday service and then him like running off to be dad mode. It was really cool as somebody who looks up to Kanye, like, to see him kind of humanized like that. And that really made this experience even better as a longtime Kanye fan. But as far as sticking with the music goes, it was really, really good. Every single song on there, we heard 10 records. I would say it was probably around 35-minute album time, but that album there was not a bad song on there. Now, I'm not going to say this is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, this is none of that. I can't say that without headphones and re-listening, but just off the hype of this album, like, and just listening, or not off the hype of this album, just listening to this album one time, it was phenomenal. It is easily beats his last 3 albums, in my opinion, and I don't think any of those 3 albums are bad, but I don't think they live up to the first 5 at all. I don't know if this one lives up to the first 5, but I think it definitely fits. It's probably in between the first 5 and the next 3. It's probably right in between there. I think it's better than the last 3 we've heard. What do you think, Chris?
I would agree, and I agree with your earlier point that we had talked about a little bit earlier about how Ye, he didn't really have much to say, where this one he really had something to say. It was concise and it was persistent, and he had this theme to it where Ye was, it was like kind of sloppy in a way, where this seemed a lot more tight-knit and together. You know what I mean?
It had like a more consistent message.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we had a couple features on there. The 2 that I remember, which I believe were the same song on the last song, and there was one more which I don't remember who it was exactly, but the last song, which is really cool that we got both of these features on one song, was Kenny G, who is an amazing saxophone player.
Yes.
And also, we had the clips.
The clips, that's right. Both of the clips were on a song, and I couldn't, because the theater speakers were a little different. They were good quality, don't get me wrong, but the speakers were a little too loud. So
he told them to turn it up, and I think that was a mistake.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he played it a little bit too loud to where we didn't get to hear as much of the production as we wanted to, and the vocals didn't cut through as well. But I will say that having the clips on one record, Pusha absolutely smoked his feature, as Pusha does. Pusha's been on a tear with that shit. But to see the clips together again was a really, really dope experience. As a huge hip hop fan, you know, that was a huge surprise, because again, he's not telling us the full track list. He's saying, all right, this is this song, then he plays it. Then this is this song, then he plays it. And so
also keep in mind that everybody in the crowd, we were all given bags to put our phones in.
Yeah.
Where we could not take video, we couldn't use our phones. They were locked until we got out. It was a bag with some sort of magnetic lock on it, kind of like how when you go to JCPenney and you buy a fucking t-shirt and it's got the magnetic shit on it or whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was like that. So it's not like we could, you know, Kim K posted the track list beforehand, but it's not like we could, it didn't have features, and it's not like we could keep up with it or like look at it while we were there. It's like when we were there, and that was it.
Yeah,
and I thought that was a really cool thing about that experience. It's like, I've been to comedy clubs and shit where you have to put your phone in a bag and you can't, you know, record. It's intellectual property, quote unquote, whatever you want to say it is. Yeah. But I think that made the experience 10 times better, was that nobody was on their phones. There was nothing to do except focus on what was happening right there. Yeah. And I thought that was really, really cool. And that's why I think the track list, you know, I like that it was like, we got to experience it without knowing what's coming next. We all in line saw the track list beforehand, but it's not like we remembered the order of it. We saw it for like a split second. And we're like, oh, they posted that. Oh, and they're at the Marriott at the Renaissance Center in Detroit. That's cool. Yeah. You know, but I just thought it was really cool that nobody was on their phones. We got to put them away for a couple hours and completely invest into this.
We were all very immersed in the experience.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
No one was taking you out. You weren't out yourself. It was just once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime.
It was, man. It was an awesome experience. And a quick side note, we were actually, so the Marriott is at the Renaissance Center, and we actually left the restaurant and wanted to get something quick, so we hit the McDonald's at the Renaissance Center. So we were there when Kanye was there. We had no idea he was there, though. But that makes sense, because when we were driving by it after the concert, there was like 12 cop cars right outside the Renaissance. So that's fucking crazy.
There's some.
But what you want to say?
Theory, Kanye's the feds.
Something that was really weird is the way that they were giving out merch.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
that was
we talked about
a
that.
whole nother thing.
I
Yeah.
was just standing there in line to get a drink, and I just see a bunch of people start like running past, like bumping me over. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And so it turns out the way they were giving merch out was that they just have random people walking around the lobby while people are standing, walk up to random people and just say, hey, you want this? And then just give it to them. It was the weirdest shit ever, but the only thing that was going through my mind, I was like, that's so Kanye.
Yeah. The cool thing about it was that, like, from everybody that got one, because we sat next to a couple people that got shirts, they said they weren't, like, looking for shirts. Like, the people were actually, like, going out of... It was some mysterious lady. Nobody could tell me what she looks like, nothing. Because everybody was, of course, trying to figure out where the merch was coming from. And we all knew there was just this mysterious lady handing out shirts. Like, we knew nothing.
It was so weird.
The cool thing about it was she seemed like she was giving it to people who weren't looking for it, which was really cool because, you know, at these kind of, like, hype venues, you're going to have people that are, like, pushing and shoving and trying to get...
I mean, even, like, I think it's... I mean, even in our row that we were in, it's like we had, you know... It was cool for the most part, and we were talking to all the people around us while we were waiting for it to start, but we had these people who came up and were, like, kind of, like, forcing their way into seats that we had reserved for other people.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, you know... It's like you get a lot of those people when it comes to a hype thing like this, where it's like it's so exclusive and overhyped that, like, I wouldn't say overhyped, it was the right amount of hype, you know.
Right.
But like you get those people that are like, you know, they just want to get their bag out of it, you know what I mean? And it's like they're not really going for the experience, they're going kind of just to say they went.
Right.
And that's why they're reaching for the shirts and shit. Oh, let me show my fucking friends that I went to this Kanye concert. It was fucking sweet. Yeah. This and that, but like we like it you know, it was cool that we had people around us that were really there for the experience, and that they were giving the merch out to the people who, because it's like those are the people that really want to be there, are the people that are like, all right, let me get my drink and get the fuck back to my seat. I want to see what happens. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna sit here and beg for some shit.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird why I didn't get one, because I could have got on a line to run with everybody. I stood there for another 15 minutes. Where's my shirt?
That's a very, very good point.
Yeah, for real.
So one last thing I want to say, and then I'll hit everybody's questions. One thing I do want to say is that this album had very little features. It had, what, 3-4 features?
Yeah,
I'd say
four.
3.
There were the
and
three
one
on
of
the
them was
3, but
saxophone.
2 counting the
There were
clips.
3 on the last song.
Or 4 counting the clips.
Yeah, and then there was one more on another song that was, you know, towards the end. But
it was.
I can't remember.
I can't remember what it was. It was something orange,
It
I believe.
Have been water.
It may have been water. It was something orange. Orange was in the title. I know that I'm pretty sure there's a Detroit band called Blood Orange, but I don't believe it was them. It was someone else.
And it was a single artist.
Yeah, it may have been a single artist.
He did the hook on it.
Yeah, and I you know, one thing we haven't been able to wrap our heads around yet is why it was Detroit.
Yeah.
Why did he choose Detroit? Because the one theory that we heard from people in line was that he chose Detroit because he canceled the San Pablo tour the day of the Detroit show. Or correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I didn't even buy tickets or anything. I didn't go to that tour. But it was around the time of the Detroit show that it was canceled. So it could have been either him making up for it. My theory, what I came up with before I even met up with you guys, was that he chose Detroit because it's another Midwest city that he gets slept on a lot, and it's also a predominantly black city.
Yeah. And
he is going for that, you know, like that's his promotion behind it.
Plus,
you know,
he grew up on, you know, Aretha, Motown, all that
right,
stuff.
And that was what you brought to it too when we were talking about it, was that he grew up on Motown. He knew these Motown artists, and I mean that was what everyone from his generation grew up on. That was the big music at the time. So like, you know, I mean, and then he, doing the Sunday service at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater, the you know, like where what other way to, you know, pay homage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And to add to that, during the Sunday service, he actually did talk about how, you know, they're here, they love being in Detroit because of how much of a rich history it has, especially with gospel. You know, they mentioned it at the Sunday service.
Yeah. That's really dope. It wasn't Rex Orange County, by the way, whoever commented.
No, that it wasn't Rex Orange County. We know who Rex Orange County is, and it wasn't him.
Yeah. So, anyways, now let's
whatever.
open the floor. I'll be happy to answer any of the questions that we have because I think we went through everything that happened. So, let's see. Is Shea Park not Aretha? No, it got renamed. Actually, it was announced at her funeral that it was renamed from Shane Park or Shea Park or whatever to the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater.
Now this is what I don't know either, is because sometimes the amphitheater itself within the park has a different name than the park has. So my theory, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, really, it's nothing short of a Google search that you could find this shit out, but it could be still Shane Park, because Shane Park is a historical park. There's been tons of performances. They have Summer Jam there every year. It's always been a venue. But I think what happened was that within the confines of Shane Park, they renamed the actual amphitheater Aretha Franklin Amphitheater.
And I mean, we were there.
You were there. I didn't.
The sign says Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, and let it be known that I didn't go to the Sunday service thing. I had class all morning. I'm in college. I had to do my shit. I had to get my shit taken care of. I had an 8-hour class straight this morning. So otherwise, I would have been at the Sunday service thing too. And then they hit me and were like, "Yo, we're going to the fucking concert." And I got my ticket on eBay for $50. Fuck it. I don't like.
All right, let's answer this question from Brandon because he's asked it several times, and I like this question. What album do we think it sounds closest to?
I think there's a big mix in there. I think there's a lot of, Ye in the beats. There's some Yeezus hidden in within the beats. But I think when he's really spitting his raps, I do kind of feel the old College Dropout and Late Registration flow.
I even feel the My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah, so his bars, and it's different. I feel like the production-wise, it fits a lot in his older style, which is interesting because he's always had the gospel thing. I mean, you think College Dropout, he had Jesus Walks on there. It's like he's always had this religious undertone to his music.
Yeah.
But it's like it's crazy that he got into a whole different vein with what he was originally like. I don't know. He took this and applied every album to it and kind of turned it into something completely new and fresh compared to what he always would do.
Yeah, which is why I would probably say, in that sense, it's probably kind of closest to The Life of Pablo in a sense, because that's how I felt about The Life of Pablo, was it was an album that was a collection of all sounds. Wolf sounds like 808s, like all these records sound like different records from Kanye's albums, and so it kind of was Life of Pablo-esque, except it flowed a lot better than Life of Pablo. It made a lot more sense, and it was more concise and a little bit dense. What's the best song? All right, good point.
Okay, everybody, throw out your highlights. I know mine.
Yeah, okay, so I'll let you kick off.
Okay, my favorite, personally, I'm not 100% sure if it was an interlude style song or not.
Yeah.
It's called LA Monster.
Yeah.
It was on the track list that Kim K posted. If you want to go to her Twitter, you can find that. LA Monster, it was sort of about how the people in LA are selling their souls for stardom, and it's like that is like an anti-religious, it's anti-Christ. Why are you doing that? I'm here in LA and I'm still believing in what I believe in. Why the fuck can't you? You know what I mean? You're sitting here selling your soul and doing what you have to do just to get famous, where I mean, I thought that was a really interesting take on that perspective, because we've heard that before. Even I'm not a metal fan, but I really like the band System of a Down, and they had a song. They've had multiple songs about how Hollywood is like that, and you're selling your soul to become famous and this and that. But it was cool to see a rapper finally take that perspective and put it into words.
Yeah, that's cool. That's actually a good thing that I wanted to point out about the album. The album very much had the College Dropout feel of it. It had Kanye really was back in that I'm saying shit. He was talking about, he was talking about social issues. He had a line in there about I think it was, it's probably going to be wrong, but it was something along the lines of fuck the culture, or fuck living for the culture, they're making us slaves, or something along those lines. I might be totally butchering it, but basically the idea behind the line was that some people are using culture, white people and other people are using culture using the black culture, and they're just making all this music, making all this great, amazing, beautiful art,
and making all this money.
White people are the ones that are making the money from it, the real money, because of the royalties and all of that stuff. So let's see. My favorite. Actually, no. You wanted to say something. You wanted to hop in on that.
What I really liked about L.A. Monster, which I thought was really brilliant, is how he kind of characterizes the Pit as the L.A. Monster. You know, he doesn't just say L.A. Monster; he says the L.A. Monster. Like, he really characterizes it as a villain.
L.A. It's not that L.A. Monster is a being; it's that L.A. is the monster.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Bass, what was your favorite record on there?
Sela was very good. I really love Sela. You know, right in the middle. You know, it kind of hit that hallelujah. Hallelujah.
That was I think that was one of the most climactic parts of the whole experience.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But you know, I still can't remember what that second record was called, but he was really spitting on
He was so spitting on the second record.
That was probably his best, you know,
let's see. Let me pull up
if it's on Apple Music as we're live tweeting.
I definitely will.
It's definitely not. Where's this rank among his discography? I had it in between his first 5 and his most recent 3. To me, it easily washes his last 3. Not that I dislike any of those albums, but it easily washes those to me.
It's funny
because I'm not sure if I'm ready to put it above any of the 5 that he had before that.
I just hopped on Twitter to look up.
Yes, he was playing the entire songs, by the way, MJ. Shout out MJ for joining this.
Oh, MJ's on here?
Yeah, MJ said, was he playing the entire track? Yeah, he was playing everything.
MJ Lathan. Shout out MJ Lathan. Follow him on Twitter, @CoffeeBlack. He's a motherfucking real-life Billy Goat, you feel me? Got the whole chin strap with him.
He's an amazing producer, by the way. Shout out to you.
Amazing
Jay-Z
producer.
feature, there was no Jay-Z feature. Law of Attraction, I don't know if that was a song name. If that was, I missed it.
No, that one wasn't.
I don't know what Law of Attraction is, so you'd have to clarify that.
I just came up on Twitter to look up Kim K's
Was Jesus
tweet.
on the album?
I believe he was a feature.
Yeah.
You know, he played a small part.
I believe he ghostwrote the album.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
Who?
Trick
Jesus.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Damn. Did he diss Drake? Okay, there was one record towards the end where it was the interlude type record. It wasn't L.A. Monster because
there was like another interlude, which is interesting that he had it was like another 35-minute album or so.
Yeah,
and he had that like almost 2 interlude tracks.
I forget that was after Big. What was it? What was the Body song? What was it?
New Body.
New
That
Body.
shit was hard.
New Body is the sauciest Kanye record I've heard in a minute. Like Kanye is on Kanye. If you like that sauce in your raps, like that's it for sure. I gotta listen to that one back. If he doesn't have a line in there about Kim K, I'm gonna be disappointed. Is New Body you heard different from the leak one? I don't listen to leaks, so the first time I heard Water was tonight. I avoid leaks as best as possible just because I'm somebody who really appreciates and wants to. I want to take the album in its entire context as much as possible. So I try to even avoid singles if I know the album's coming out the next week or so.
Okay, I have something to say. So what we heard
was Law of Attraction Chakras on the album. Not to my knowledge, but I think it was actually in the film. They did some. They did some shit at the service, I believe, but I don't think it was, and I think in the film, but I don't think it was on the album. I want to answer this Did he diss Drake in a second, but go ahead and say it.
So, just so everybody knows, what we heard was actually out of order.
Yeah.
According to Kim K. Use This Gospel is the song with the Clips and Kenny G on it, and that comes third to the end, and we heard it as the last track. Also, Sela is supposed to be the last track.
Well, I mean, I wonder if that track list isn't accurate because the actual full title is Use This Gospel as Protection.
Yeah, I'm gonna... Oh, that was the second song, right? Use This Gospel?
No, Use This Gospel as Protection was the one with the clips.
That was the last one.
Follow God. I think
Follow
that was the second one. Follow God.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
yo,
I remember now.
He snapped on
He
it.
absolutely spits on it.
That was like No More Parties in L.A. Kanye. That was like throw it back to the first 5 albums. Kanye. He snapped. Did he diss Drake? But there was one record on here. Let's find it. See if I can find it. I think it was Use This Gospel actually. That he talked about just like about his peers, like his contemporary artists, like throwing shade on him and like hating on him and whatever. So it could have been a Drake bar. I'd have to re-listen to it again. But to me, I would say it was nothing more than like a kind of like a Jay-Z or a Drake subliminal diss, if that. I don't even know if he really talked about Drake, to be honest. how good was it? Which album is it better than? I answered that to me, it's better than it's better than his most recent 3 by far, but I wouldn't put it above any of his first 5. Maybe I would after listening.
Yeah, we can't judge that yet because we only heard it, we heard it in that performance and that was it. We have to wait till it comes out and give it a couple more listens and give it its due diligence.
Very, very true. You would probably say it's up there too, right?
Yeah, I'd say since after he released My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, this is probably the best work he's put out since that.
Yeah. Let's see. Who are the features on there? You can confirm. Again, they were. Let's shout them out. They were the Clips. So both the Clips, which was super duper hype. Kenny G.
Which was
Kenny G out of the fire on that song.
It was crazy because he had stopped the whole
Jay-Z
track.
And Lauryn Hill aren't on the album, by the way.
He stopped the whole track and was like, "Oh yeah, and we got Kenny G on here." And then he came in with the sax solo.
Yeah,
that shit was so hard.
Insane.
That shit was crazy. Do you think he can tour off this? Absolutely. He's Kanye. Even if this album was garbage, he could still tour because he has 80 amazing songs he can build off of. So yes, but this album was definitely good enough to tour. It gave us enough attention. Any mention of a drop date? No, he did not say anything about a drop. He just said he's playing the album for us. That's the only thing he said. And then after the album was over, he said, "Thank you, everyone. Good night." And then the lights came on. Let's see. This is going to be better than absolutely. Brooklyn perspective.
He said, "Call me in."
Call him in for the Brooklyn perspective. Shout out John Adams. Let's see. What's my favorite song? My favorite song is "Follow God" for sure because he was snapping on that. If also no close are closed on Sundays, right? Is that what it's called?
Closed on Sunday.
Closed on Sundays.
And it's only called Sunday on this track list. Closed on Sundays, just like Chick-fil-A, baby.
Yeah. And he said that before he played the record, and so everybody thought, "Oh, okay, that's just Kanye being funny. Kanye's got jokes." But that's the hook of the song. Close on Sunday, girl, you my Chick-fil-A or something like that.
Which is the most Kanye thing you could say ever.
Like you think of other
hopefully
rappers.
better than Life Pablo. It is, in my opinion, Noah. Thank you, Noah, for joining. Do you think this album will go down as a top 3? No, I do not think so.
No matter what.
But I do think it's not crazy. Maybe it will sound crazy when I listen to it myself with headphones. But right now, it's easily better than his last 3. But to me, maybe if I listen to it with headphones and I feel just as good about it, it might pass one of his first 5. I don't know. But it's definitely not going to be top 3. I don't think it's likely to be top 5 either. Let's see. First week sales predictions. Who knows? Because I don't know when it's dropping or how it's dropping. And Billboard, the way Billboard works with their numbers is it's based on Thursday night drops. So even if you drop on like a Saturday as opposed to dropping on a Thursday, you're gonna lose a lot of numbers. But I think on a normal week, if he dropped at a normal time on Thursday, I would have probably said it would have done like over 200, maybe even 3.
Hopefully,
yeah.
I would say
I think it would have been big
because we all know how that works nowadays
yeah.
as far as streams and what counts and what doesn't, and it's a different ball game that we're playing now.
Was it a very religious album? Yes, it was. Every single song was about God. Every single song. I mean, he put his own personal perspectives in it, which was dope. But it was always about God. There was always bars about God. To me, it was awesome. Like, I think, as someone who was kind of skeptical of Kanye and like, was he using this religion to like kind of, we know he's religious, so I gave him the benefit of the doubt. But there were some people that thought, is he using religion? Is he hiding behind religion to fix his public image? I don't think that's the truth because I really felt what he was saying on this album. So I think he really had a lot to say. Was New Body different from The Leak? Again, I didn't listen to The Leak, so I don't know. But New Body was saucy. Kanye was killing that shit. Kanye just said the album's dropped Sunday. Awesome. That makes sense. Let's see. What else we got. Yeah, the Kanye album comes out on Sunday. Kim put in her story it's going to come out on Sunday. But Above Yeezus? Yes, Above Yeezus. We all agree on that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's not that hard to beat.
Who all was featured on it? I answered. It was Kenny G, Clips, and what was the other one?
Something Orange. Yes. I can't remember what
it
was.
We can't remember.
It wasn't Rex Orange County, and it wasn't Blood Orange.
Chicago listening party Saturday and New York Sunday. That's cool. I hope that's true because honestly, look, if you're somebody that can get to one of those cities or lives in one of those cities, I absolutely recommend you listen to this, you do a listening party, because the films were great, and the films were a work in progress, so they're not done yet. Who knows when they'll come out, but the films were awesome, and just experiencing the music with Kanye in the building is just a whole nother feeling. So I think it was super, super dope. Law of Attraction was on the Yandhi leaks. Yeah, I didn't listen to the Yandhi leaks. Again, I try to avoid leaks. So maybe there's a chance it was a song that was renamed. I'll give it a listen after
I believe I heard that New Body was on the Yandhi leaks, and then there was another one that was played only in one of the films. That Garden one. Yeah.
Garden was allegedly a song that, would I consider a gospel album? Absolutely. I would consider a gospel rap album, though. I would not say that it's not a rap album.
I'm gonna say
he rapped.
I'm gonna say it's a hip hop album with gospel elements and gospel samples.
Because every song has gospel samples, or has or follows like just the gospel arrangement as far as like the music goes, and also every song is about God. Let's see. He's gonna change it until Sunday night. Maybe who knows? Because we heard the track listing we heard was different than the track listing that Kim K posted an hour before he played us the shit. So who really knows? Was Water like the really slow version he played at Coachella? I missed that, but I thought Water was cool personally. It wasn't one of my favorites. I think if you like Water, I would say, even though I like it, I would say it was probably one of my least favorites. So if you liked Water, you're gonna love this album. Let's put it to you this way. Ultralight Beam vibes, yes, there were definitely some Ultralight Beam vibes. At some moments on the album, and just throughout the day was a lot of Ultralight Beam vibes. In fact, that was one of the 2 songs he did at the Sunday service. Any tips for getting tickets tomorrow? We had to get our tickets. We had to buy our tickets because we missed the cutoff. So I would say honestly, I don't have any good advice. I've never been good at getting tickets and stuff. Just try, and if not, if you got the budget for it, pay for it. It's a great experience. But if they're anything like these, they're general admission, so just take the cheapest price and then just get there on time, or we'll get there early.
eBay.
And then you'll get some shit. Yeah, eBay's where we got ours. Did it sound like a finished product? Absolutely. No song sounded rough. The mixing sounded good. Again, the pitches and some of the voices were a little bit different, but I think that was because the theaters. It was a Fox Theater, which is a venue that's not known for rap.
Yeah, forever.
Any insane beat switches? I thought the beat switch on Close on Sundays was really dope. What did you think?
I did like that beat switch in general.
Yeah.
Also.
That was the only song he ran back, by the way, which is kind of crazy.
I think that him performing it there, so at the very beginning, as soon as he started playing it, he stopped it and was like, turn it up. Told the sound guy to turn it up. And that is a venue, if anybody in this is from Detroit, which I'm assuming there's quite a few people, if you've been to the Fox before, it's typically a venue that is meant for plays and performances that are not what we just saw there. So I don't know if their sound system is built quite as well for that sort of genre of music. I mean, even when we were watching the films, it was like the audio was a little cloudy.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard to understand exactly what he was saying because it was kind of documentary a little bit. Like a good part of it was.
I'd say that had a lot to do with the recording audio. They didn't really.
So you think it was the recording audio rather than the
I
speakers.
noticed that the video quality wasn't like professional, pristine. So I think they just kind of threw out some random camera.
Okay, so
didn't like bring any professional microphones or anything.
So as somebody who's into film, why would you say that it? Why would you think that it wouldn't be when IMAX was the people who did it? Because IMAX.
IMAX didn't do the documentary; they did the short film.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you're right.
The documentary on it. I think it was filmed on an iPhone, which I would believe.
Yeah, being Kanye and
I filmed a ton of shit.
The Ye cover art from the Ye album is iPhone shot. Is an iPhone pic.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't know that.
I've shot a lot of video on iPhone, so I know what that looks like. I think it was definitely on an iPhone.
Okay, Kevin, what songs did he play at Sunday service? He only played 2. He only played Father Stretch My Hands and Ultralight Beam. How was the Water track? I thought it was dope, but it was also one of my least favorites. So that tells you how much I like this band.
I believe that.
How did you feel about Water?
That
I
one
really
leaked
like
before.
Water. I like those kind of slower jams that Kanye puts out. I do also, agree that it wasn't like my top on the album, but I still thought it was a really dope record.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Were there Trump bars? I didn't catch any if there were.
No, there weren't. So I heard people talking about that. I heard people talking about that. It was almost not politically driven in any way.
No, I don't think there was any mention of politics. Were the beats real hard? Was there a lot of... How's the energy of the tracks? The energy was great. Now, granted, we're in a venue. We're in a place with thousands of people, like 2,000 people probably. So there's like this anticipation of the first listen. So there's going to be even more built up adrenaline. But I thought even trying to be objective, I thought that the energy was there. A lot of the beats built. There was a lot of strong drums, a lot of strong kicks, a lot of strong all of that stuff. And so a lot of the beats did build though. They would kind of build up and ramp up and lead to the hook, and then they would kind of mellow out and then come back. Or some songs were just intense all the way through. Like Follow God, when he was rapping on that song, that was intense all the way through.
It was that beat switch on Closed on Sunday was incredible.
Just so climactic. Yeah, the whole album was climactic.
The finale beat, that was crazy.
We love a beat switch, that's true. So let's see. Does he rap on Closed on Sundays? Yes, he does. And there's a beat switch on that one. Let's see. I'm gonna need you to watch your tone when you speaking on Yeezus. Which Chris are you talking to, MJ? Let me know. Did Kanye rap on Water? Yeah, I thought he rapped on Water, right?
Yeah, he rapped. I think he rapped the least on that.
Yeah, that was probably the least. Would you say?
Agreed.
All right. Hit me with any closing questions. I'm gonna end this in a couple minutes. If you guys don't got some other questions. I see the numbers are starting to dip out. People are starting to bounce. And I'll plug myself while I'm waiting for you guys to send your question.
Want to phone in?
Oh, John wants to phone in. Yeah, let's do it. Let's phone John in for a second. Actually, view. I've never done this before, so let's see what happens. All right. John is unable to join. Damn.
Uh-oh.
Damn. Rate 1 to 10. I don't want you to hold my time. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it, man. I look forward to hearing more from you. I'd love to get in contact with you. Rate it 1 to 10. I don't want to give this a final rating. This is just off one listen without headphones. I would say it probably felt like an 8 to me. What would you say?
I'd say it was around there. Probably a 7 or an 8 for me too. It was. I mean,
really
it was really good. We all have the consensus as. I mean, nothing beats the first 5. It's gonna be so hard for him to beat that in any on any level.
Yeah.
Like
those are all classics.
For a 2019 Kanye, I got honestly more than I would have expected.
Yes, I would agree with that.
I think I got the best Kanye that I've heard in a while. I'm probably even an 8 as well, even though it's closer to a 9 than a 7. But
was it better than Kids See Ghosts? I don't know. According to Anthony Fantano, probably not. But that's crazy they gave it. Tough crowd. Let's see. Does it have Ye bars or is it new Ye rapping like his recent album? No. It's definitely got that college dropout feel. He says some shit. He talks about racism. He talks about religion. He talks about just the culture in general.
Again, doesn't touch on politics as much as I would have expected him to.
Politics. Can't be Graduation in 808s. I agree.
Of course not.
So 808s is his best, in my opinion.
Okay. 808s is his best. I would say my favorite is Graduation, but if I'm being objective, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
My favorite Kanye album, Late Registration.
Really? That's interesting.
100%. Late Registration is my top Kanye shit. I can listen to that front to back, up and down, purple to green. It doesn't fucking matter. That's my favorite Kanye album by far.
So, all right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in at this point. I know a lot of you guys checked out at this point, but for those of you that stayed, appreciate it. My name is Chris Platty, host of the Strictly Hip Hop, Strictly Hoop Talk podcast. This is my friend Chris Adams.
My name is Chris also. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ChrisADVMS. I promise I'm good enough for a follow, so hit me up.
Worthy follow, definitely recommend. And this is my guy Bass.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Brendan Sheardy, SHEARDY. Yeah, it was really fun talking.
Yeah, it was really fun, guys. Listen, I'm going to post this to my YouTube channel, so just search Chris Platty. Earlier, I talked about a lot of stuff. I answered a lot of people's questions, and we really just dove all the way in on it. I recapped the whole experience from sun up to sundown, from Sunday service to now. So I appreciate everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one.